Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. This is my first video on here and I'm going to be just explaining my labour and delivery as a story time for you and basically explaining how my pregnancy went up until the point of delivery. So I'm going to just start with the facts. I found out I was pregnant at 17 and I found out at what I thought was 5 weeks pregnant. I took a clear blue test and it said 3+, which means 5 weeks plus, but adding the 2 weeks of, I think it's fertility they call it, I'm not quite sure what. Back again with Daisy May. She wanted to join me in the video. She is 5 months old of us today and out. So basically I found out when I was around 5 weeks pregnant, according to the test. I was really 10 weeks. I had my scan at supposedly 12 weeks, where they told me I was actually 14.5 weeks pregnant. After that, it went pretty fast from there. I found out I was having a girl at 21 weeks, and I also ended up having a baby shower and everything just kind of went smooth sailing, never had no morning sickness. Kind of was an easy pregnancy for me, but the end kind of took its toll on my body, I think. Around 34, 35 weeks, I really started to lose energy. I was in bed all the time, eating all the time, sleeping as much as I could. I couldn't really do much. The whole way through my pregnancy I had a high heart rate, not quite sure on my blood pressure at that time, and close to the end of my pregnancy at 37 weeks they found protein in my urine, TMI, and they said they ruled it off. I didn't have preeclampsia, nothing was wrong, I was fine, it was just undetected from what they call discharge, which wasn't the case for me. At around 37 to 40 weeks, I started having pelvic pain because the baby was so engaged that she was basically ready to come out. As time went on, I hit my due date, and as soon as my due date hit, I started getting contractions, only minimal ones, didn't hurt, nothing much like Braxton Hicks type things. And I went to the hospital I went over, and I went in at 40 weeks and 1 day for a sweep, which they gave me there, and that same night I started getting heavy contractions. These started coming every 4 or 5 minutes, and I was basically just in bed trying to relax as much as I could because I was very, very nervous about going into labour entirely. By about the 4th day of going overdue, my contractions were starting not to become unbearable, but something wasn't right. I could tell that I was close to going into labour, like full-blown labour. So I rang the hospital and they said, come in. As I was leaving to go to the hospital, my waters broke whilst I was on the toilet having a wee, TMI. And as I was in the car on the way to the hospital, as I walked through the doors, my waters fully broke and they just all went, and they kept coming and coming and coming until point of delivery. The thing that bothered me most about my whole labour in general was, as I went to the hospital, they checked me and I was 2 centimetres dilated at 11 o'clock in the morning. And all day I was asking to be checked, because I felt something was different. They were getting more pressure and they just wouldn't check me because of risk of infection. So they checked me at 11 o'clock in the morning. The next time they checked me was 12 o'clock at night. So I went the full day without knowing how many centimetres I was, how close was I given to birth. And I just really was feeling the pressure at that point because I didn't know what was coming. Because I was being so worried and hyperventilating and stuff, they gave me a pethidine shot in my leg to calm me down because I couldn't calm down. I wasn't breathing properly. I was just panicking too much. My mum and my partner then went, instead of going home, they waited in the car because obviously my mum knew something wasn't right and I didn't myself. And at about, I think 9 o'clock, I fell asleep because I was more calm, I could sleep through it. The pethidine was so strong that I could hear every noise. It felt like noises were movements. If someone were to walk, it would feel like they were walking on my head. It was so bad. I wouldn't recommend it anyone. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a very bad worrier. And as it was coming towards 8, 9 o'clock at night, because they said I was in active labour, they sent my mum and my partner Ellis home. But my mum knew something was wrong and I didn't want them to leave because I was hyperventilating. I was so scared of them leaving because I knew something wasn't right. And 12 o'clock at night, exactly, things started going really fast, really like, I couldn't comprehend what was happening because of how quick it was going. But I texted my mum, I was like, something's not right, there's like a pressure. And I called the midwife in to check and she was like, I'm not checking you because you're not in labour, nothing's going on. I was like, look at my contractions because I was recording them on my phone. They were literally like 50 seconds apart, going fast all the time. I was like, something's not right, I need to go to the toilet. And she was like, okay, I'll put you on the monitor, but you're not in labour, to check my contractions because I was saying how close together they were. Because my contractions weren't 1 minute and something apart, they were like 50 seconds, then a minute, 50 seconds, a minute. She said that I wasn't in active labour and I was just having mild contractions. And at that point, I was saying, please check me, somebody's coming out. So she checked and I was 10 centimetres dilated. At that point, the lights came on, the woman pressed the bell and she was like, we're going down. And the whole way down in the elevator, I was saying, oh, am I having my epidural now? Because I didn't feel like I was in labour. It wasn't in no pain, nothing. I just felt like I needed to go to the toilet. I quickly texted my mum and my partner and I said, come on, I'm having my epidural, hurry up. I don't want to be alone for that. They came running in. As I was coming down the hallway, they were coming in through the entrance. And we met in the middle and went into the birthing suite. To the birthing suite, I was asking the midwife, am I having my epidural? Because I didn't think I was in any pain. I just felt like I needed to go to the toilet still. And she was like, no, you're pushing. And I was like, wait, what? And I started freaking out because I am so scared of giving birth. The whole time I was pregnant, I was petrified of giving birth without any pain relief. And I just had to go for it and wing it and do my best to basically pull through. I was torn about pulling through. It all escalated quickly from there. I was pushing and within about 20 minutes, Daisy came out. After that, I was completely fine. I only had 1 stitch for a graze I had. I had a shower and we was put up into I don't know what they call it, it's like an after delivery suite thing. With other mums to basically rest after going through such a traumatic experience for the both of us. So there you have it, that was my birth story. It was very fast and I can't even remember half of it. That's why I'm telling the story, just so I have the memory of it to look back on and show Daisy much older. But I am going to be making a part 2 to this birth story if you enjoyed the first half, and that'll be about after my postnatal depression and my OCD after I gave birth and my struggles with that and how I am overcoming them currently. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this birth story and I hope that it wasn't as bad as I thought it was in my head. Bye!